Hello vlog and welcome to my guy. Something that I usually like to do when I'm in London is walk by the River Thames. It's a way for me to kind of relax, clear up on some thoughts that I might have, and I'm going to try and do the same thing here in Manila, and I'm going to see how far we can go and whether it's actually easy to walk by the banks of the Pasig River. And we're starting off our journey by Jones Bridge right here, which is right next to the Escolta Pier where I took the ferry to Makati. But firstly, let's just go over the Jones Bridge and actually take a look at it. I think we actually pass over this bridge quite a few times whenever we're trying to go to Manila Bay or to other places around Metro Manila. This is where the taxi would usually take us over.
The Jones Bridge is a memorial bridge named after William Atkinson Jones, the author of the Philippine Autonomy Act, known as the Jones Act, which advocated for legislative independence for the Philippines from the United States. From 1911 until 1918, Jones was chairman of the House Committee on Insular Affairs, which had jurisdiction over the Philippines and Puerto Rico. To get an understanding for how influential Jones was for the country's independence, I will quote an article that was published by the Philippines Republic on William A. Jones in April 1924. The Filipino people never had and probably never will have a greater champion of their race in the halls of Congress than was William Atkinson Jones of Virginia. Time and again during his long service in Congress, he arose in his place on the floor of the House of Representatives to defend the Filipino people against misrepresentation or to plead for their early independence. The writer of these lines had the privilege of knowing Mr. Jones intimately throughout many years and can say it was truly a labour of love to him to serve the cause of Philippine liberty. When Jones passed away in 1918 at the age of 69 due to paralysis, the monument on his grave in Warsaw, Virginia, was paid for by the citizens of the Philippines as a token of appreciation for all the hard work in support of the country's independence. The purpose of the Jones Bridge was to replace the crippled Puente de España, Bridge of Spain, built in 1630, which would have been the oldest standing bridge to cross the Pasig River had it not been for the disastrous typhoon and severe flooding that destroyed the central span in 1914. In the aftermath of the typhoon, a temporary steel truss-shaped structure had to be used as the central span until the Jones Bridge was completed in 1920. The architect behind Jones Bridge, Juan Marcos Arellano of Tondo, Manila, was one of the Philippines' most prominent architects, who is also the genius behind Manila Metropolitan Theatre, the Manila Central Post Office, and many other fascinating monuments across the country. Juan designed the bridge in a neoclassical style that emphasizes enormous scale, simple geometrical symmetry, as well as 15th century Italian Renaissance design cues like the balustrades that ran the length of the bridge on either side. The structural design of the Jones Bridge features 3 long arches that rest on 2 large reinforced concrete piles driven into the riverbed of the Pasig River. Adorned to the bridge there used to be geometrical shapes, statues of young individuals riding sea serpents, as well as 4 sculptures positioned on concrete columns known as La Madre Filipina, until they were severely damaged in the Battle of Manila in 1945 by retreating Japanese forces who blew the Jones Bridge to smithereens. During its post-war reconstruction under the Philippine Rehabilitation Act of 1945, the bridge was rebuilt in haste, and in the process it lost its neoclassical identity as the concrete spans were replaced using steel bailey structures, the balustrades were substituted with steel guardrails, and the sculptures of La Madre Filipina were not reinstated. The first wave of restoration work to restore the Jones Bridge to its former glory didn't start until 1998. In 2019, the Mayor of Manila announced plans to have the Jones Bridge further restored to its original state, using the donation of 20 million pesos from an affluent Chinese businessman. This would see the return of the 4 La Madre Filipina sculptures in 2019 and in 2021, as well as the installation of brand new ornate lampposts in a style that takes inspiration from Pont Alexandre III Bridge in Paris.
Jones Bridge isn't exactly the quietest bridge here in Manila, but the next one down, which is called the Binondo Intramuros Bridge, seems to be a lot more quiet, and you would usually see quite a few people cycling and walking along there, and vehicles can also pass over that bridge too. It's a very modern, sleek looking bridge. But as I look out onto the Pasig River, it seems as though the left side there's quite a lot of renovation work happening, especially by the pier. And so we're actually going to walk along the right hand side, which seems to be a little more developed with regards to having an actual dedicated walking path by the bank. Jones Bridge is incredibly beautiful during sunset and at night. I've actually got quite a few videos on the channel where I've actually passed over Jones Bridge during those really beautiful times. Right at the bottom of the staircase is this security booth who is responsible for basically taking care of this development that's going on right here on the right hand side of the pier. And I believe this is going to be a pathway that connects to the other portion just over there. But we got to pass along here around these metal fenced gates to get to that bit. And this building right here, this big grandiose beige color building, is the actual post office of Manila. By the banks, there does seem to be quite a few people living in this area. But just behind these houses is where the footpath begins. They've even got a rooster? Wow. What is it supposed to be? Is it supposed to be like brand new, or is it like an incomplete project? This packaging here would indicate these lampposts are fairly brand new and they've not been used yet. The plastic hasn't even been removed from them. So I'm wondering if they're waiting for that portion to be fixed. I would say the Pasig River has seen better days. There's a lot of water hyacinth in there at the moment. These things can actually clog waterways and it's a pain to deal with. And there's so much as well. They grow so quickly. Look at that. It's like a whole island just going down the Pasig River at the moment. Okay, so we've come to the other side without being bitten by a dog. Hello, how are you? Mergim, how are you? Yes, sir. What are you guys doing? What are you guys doing? Playing? How are you? You okay?
Solid na ho.
Playing, yeah? We're trying to go along here. Cannot. Which side do you think better? That way or this way? Or cannot? Alright, we'll try and see, and if there's nothing, we'll come back. What was your name, sir?
My name?
Yeah.
Jeffrey.
Jeffrey, nice to meet you. Mergim. As Jeffrey pointed out, it's a dead end. There really isn't. Chicken, stop trying to escape.
The same architect Juan Marcos Ariana, who designed Jones Bridge, also designed the Manila Central Post Office, which was considered to be one of his most important works. The imposing neoclassical style building that features 16 large pillars was built in 1926, and its location was conveniently chosen to allow it to be accessed from all sides by its neighbouring districts, Quiapo, Binondo and Ermita.
See, this area we usually just pass by either in a taxi or in a tricycle, but we haven't really walked around here, and so that's really what I want to do today. I really want to see what it's like on foot. Anyway, let's cross the zebra crossing and go into this area here, which is Ang Bagong, Department of Engineering and Public Works. I'm actually an engineer myself, so I'm keen to see what is in there. Although I've been in Manila for like over 2 weeks, I'm still discovering places just on foot. Like this place here, which seems to have a lot of security here. It's a pretty nice park in the middle of quite a few main roads. Wow, this is booky AF, but I love it. It's so good. Where are we going? Are we going this way, that way? Let's cross over to this side. With these flickering lights. Okay, so we've emerged to the other side. I believe we can actually access SM Manila from here. It's the Metropolitan Theatre here in Manila. I am really impressed by this square block. I really wanted to go in and have a look inside. It looked really interesting, but is it possible to look inside or cannot?
Cannot, sir. Ongoing program inside.
But it's under renovation at the moment. Alright, we've just run into an area called Araceros, and there's a forest park located behind these metal fences. But just above it is the LRT line, and the station just there is Central. So there's this very beautiful water fountain here, which has quite a few jets and LEDs positioned on the base of it. Honestly, in my opinion, it looks the best when the violet purple lights turn on. All right, time to enter Arasores Forest Park.
Alright folks, I'm going to be wrapping up today's video here. I know I said I was going to make a 20-minute video, but unfortunately my throat is just so messed up right now. I'm not sure if you can hear it. There's that, and also I still have to like finish this last portion because Arasera Forest has a lot of history, so I want to cover that as well. But I just wouldn't have the time to be able to do it all in one video and to upload it today, so I'm going to split it into two, and the next one will come out tomorrow.